Welcome back. Today we're looking at the Divo Knives Pony Stout. Another awesome one coming from Divo Knives. OEM to this one is Kubi Knives, and these will be sold at White Mountain Knives. The drop is supposed to be set for this Thursday. Hopefully this video is dropping on Wednesday. But if that changes, I will definitely let y'all know. But if you're interested in one of these, I can promise you these aren't going to last long. You know, they're not a huge company, so they're not buying thousands and thousands of these. They're usually pretty small runs. So be ready. The price on these are going to be $75. However, if you use code STASA23 for the 10% off, it's going to be in that $68 price range. And I think that is perfecto. These won't be available anywhere else, so keep your eye peeled for a drop on White Mountain Knives, and I'll try to update y'all as much as I can. This is a more smaller, compact size of the full-size Stout. Unfortunately, I missed out on the Stout. I couldn't afford it at the time, and I'm really bummed about it. Definitely glad to know that they're doing a Stout V2, and I was really excited to be able to check this one out. You're only getting a 6.58-inch blade overall, but it's still able to fit your large, extra large hands nicely because of a forward finger choil. Blade steel on this one is 14C28N, and it has a beautiful, beautiful stone wash finish on it. Nice hollow grind, so it comes down nice and thin at around 16 to 18 thousandths behind the edge on my particular knife. Got some beautiful crowning from this little scoop area all the way up. Very, very nice, and it feels really good when you're choked up in that little scoop. And even if you're going to, do some detailed utility cuts, which this blade is going to be excellent for. There's no jimping, but I didn't find any really need for it because you got a nice flat spot. It's comfortable. It's a smaller knife. You're not going to be doing crazy things with this anyway. One of my only real gripes on the knife after carrying it for, I think, over a month now is the sharpening choil needs to be bigger. You can see, hopefully, that the edge has already started to widen up, and if I go to sharpen it right now, it's going to widen up even more and more, and it's only going to get worse. However, due to where the stop pin is, which is internal, as you can see there, you can widen that up before you do a sharpening if you'd want, with like a Dremel or a diamond file or something like that, and you won't have that problem. Or if it's not something that bugs you, then don't worry about it. Nice thin tip for doing utility, style cutting. Nice precision cutting. Very, very nicely done. This one was definitely fun to use. Let's check that out. Meaning the knife has almost a straight edge to it. It's going to be a very powerful slicer. And I noticed right away that that choke up position in that little scoop area on the top of the spine also is my favorite way to hold the knife. Very comfortable and capable. The knife came very sharp out of box, and that hollow grind is slicing very, very nicely. And hopefully it holds that edge throughout. Nothing that I don't think you could do with this in hand. We'll have to see how it is on the cutting board. All right, now we're going to test the ergos and see how that edge is biting on this piece of birch. I noticed really quick that my power is coming from that hammer grip. Very comfortable, neutral grip on those scales, nice and rounded, contoured. So there was no hot spots to speak of. The pocket clip stayed out of the way of my hand. And this is another thing that this knife's going to shine at. You're going to be able to get a lot of power behind such a little blade because you can choke right up on that edge and control what you're doing. Now this piece that I'm working on is really knotty and curved, so it's kind of hard to get a nice straight cut through it. But it did a great job. Like I said, no problems whatsoever. Now it is a little skinny in hand, so after prolonged cutting, you may start to fatigue in the wrist and forearm. These precision drag cuts like this are going to be very, very easy with this because you have a very low tip. You can manipulate the tip fairly easy, and you can get your index finger all the way to the end of it rather easily. It blasts through all the material without any issues whatsoever. That edge still feels great. And yeah, I was very impressed on the slicing capabilities of such a smaller knife. Now it will start to struggle, you know, like this right here. It struggled a little bit for its because of the blade size and the thickness of this 12-ounce denim. This is a little bit bigger than I normally do, but it handled it just fine. Now, as far as the rope goes, I'm probably gonna have to lift it up on a block because of its almost straight edge. So let's see how it is right away. Look, you can see it's push cutting. The edge is still really good. It's one thing I like about 14C. It holds a really respectable edge, and it gets so sharp. This thing is blasting through the rope. And like I said earlier, the only reason I decided to pull it up on the block is because you have a fairly straight edge, and trying to cut on that larger flat cutting surface, you're only going to get, you know, that tip into whatever you're cutting. So it's very hard to do, and not something I'm willing to do because it just jacks up my hands and it doesn't usually perform that great. I'm just trying to show how it's going to cut, you know, through fibrous materials like this. We ended up making 50 cuts through the rope, and it still felt good. I just ran out of rope, and yeah, we're going to test the edge after this. I was very happy with the results of this one for sure. Now let's see what that edge is like now after all that cutting. Yeah, that's why I like 14C. And I know I could strop that up to make it hair shaving sharp again. Now let's take a look at the action, which is a strong suit for this knife because it is so fidgety. You got a nice blade hole that's been chamfered. I can easily get my finger in there to do a reverse flick. Comes rocking out. It's riding on ceramic bearings. A nice fall shut action. I can thumb flick it if I want. I can slow roll it if I'd like. You know, very fidgety knife. I could sit there all day and do that. It's nice and comfortable. For your lefties, easy as well. Because you're not pushing down on any lock bar because of the fact that it's a line of lock. Take a look at the scale area. This one has some nice blue canvas micarta. I like it. You can see the fabric is sitting up a little bit, so it's nice and grippy. It's going to take the oils of your hand and get darker. If you don't want that, you can always clean them, make it look fresh again. You do have a slight contour on those scales, and it felt really good in hand. The Divo Knives branded pivot sits a little proud of the scales just because of the contouring. You have T8 on the pivot, T8 on the body screws, T8 on the clip screws. Outstanding. That's one huge plus with buying any of the Divo knives. They're knife guys just like us, so they listen to the feedback and they know what they like as well. So they're going to implement it on their knives. You know, as often as they can, they're going to try to perfect it before it gets to y'all hands. The pocket clip on this is a wire pocket clip that's deep carry. I'm pretty sure that they have the spacing set up for the Lynch wire clip replacement. If I'm wrong, I'll put that up on the screen, but I'm pretty sure they do that with all their wire clip knives. You do have, you know, enough ramp underneath there. I'd rather it be like that than poking up like that, because whenever you're cutting, you know, it stays out of the way of your palm. This one goes in and out of the pocket nicely. It's held in there nicely because of that micarta. Pretty much disappears. You got just a little bit of the knife sticking up, and it disappears in the pocket. You completely forget you have a knife in the pocket. It's a good Gymshark knife, in my opinion. You have a backspacer that comes up about 1/4 of an inch. I'm not sure. I thought that might have been titanium, and it could be, but whenever I put my magnet to it, it sticks. It could be sticking to the liners. I'll have to ask Kevin about that, and I'll let y'all know right here. The liners are inset into the micarta, as you can see there. So that's always nice to see. It's a classier look, in my opinion, because, you know, most Kubi knives, like say on this Master Chief, you have exposed liners, which not a big deal, but this is just a nicer look, and you don't have to worry about, you know, those liners causing any kind of hot spots. You got nice rounding on all the edges of the knife. Very well done. And this thing was very comfortable in hand, especially in this choke up position with that little scoop. Very comfortable there. And I couldn't really choke back that much because that's like a 3 and maybe a 1/2 finger grip, and you're pretty far from that edge. So it's pretty much meant to choke all the way up on the knife. For me, my medium-sized hands, it fits perfect. I get a nice 4-finger grip, and I still have some left over. So like I said, should be able to fit your large hands fine. No internal milling because it's probably, you know, it's not super beefy liners and it's a small knife. Check it out first off in grams. 84.4 grams or 2.9 ounces. Awesome. The lockup on my knife is sitting at around, I'd say 40%. Hadn't moved at all since I got it. No up and down, no side to side. I'm sure I could flex some side to side just because of the thinner nature of the handles, but solid lockup, no problems. Good access to that lock bar because it is cut out right here. There's no sharp edge on this liner, on the locking liner, so it's nice and comfortable, easy to get to, and I absolutely love that. That helps out that fidget factor if that's something you look for. And like I said earlier, my only nitpick on this knife is the sharpening choil, but I can fix it. So, you know, it's not something I really dwelled on with this knife. And I'm not sure if this isn't a titanium backspacer, it would have been nice to have one, or maybe the same material just to shave off a little bit of weight. But, you know, at the 2.9 ounces, this thing's still a featherweight. I barely ever noticed it's in the pocket. The fairly neutral handles, nice and comfortable. At the $68 price point with the discount code, I think it's an excellent buy. Do I think these are going to sell out? Yeah. How fast is the question? I would have to say pretty darn fast. Quick size comparisons, we have the O Knife Roboto 3 and the Civivi Mini Praxis. Both of these knives are just a little bit longer, not by much. But due to that forward finger choil, you have about the same grip area, if not more. These are probably my closest overall length and size references, the Benchmade Mini Grip and the Kaiser Mini Backlighter, Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Knives Lander, QSP Penguin and the Wee Banter. So my overall thoughts on this knife, I love it. I've been carrying it quite often, and I like all of Divo Knives designs. I have, I think, all of them so far except the full-size Stout. And I will definitely be trying to pick one of those up whenever they do the V2. They do a lot of the type of blade shapes I like, a lot of the sizes I like. And, you know, I like that they listen to feedback. And that's why, you know, I chose to work with them as well on a project myself. So I will have a link to White Mountain Knives down in the comments. Remember, use code STASA23 to get 10% off. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace!